Good day, students. This is example 2 of week 5, and this week we started with 3D modeling in NX. So this is the part that we're going to make, or the model. So this week we only start with the most basic 3D modeling features in NX. So I'm going to first start with a sketch of the front view, but so let me go to NX. So I want a sketch on the front plane. Okay, so I'm going to start with this square, but I'm not going to include those rounded edges because I'm rather going to show you how to do it in the 3D modeling space rather than in the sketch. So we're just going to start with this rectangle. It's 120 by 70. There you go. Okay. And I'm just going to delete this constraint. And I'm going to add a different constraint, which is a bit better. Okay, so there is my rectangle. Then I'm going to add this 60 circle here. So circle and 60 diameter. Okay, so then when we're modeling in 3D, each of us will probably do it in our own way, but there's definitely different ways. So I'm not going to put in this circle here because there's a feature in the 3D modeling where I can do it then. But I'll show you when we get there. So I'm going to put in some things, but not all of the things of the front view. So I'm also going to include that little rectangle there. So it is 30 by 10. Okay, so it's 10 high and 30 long. And I'm just going to align it with the center point. So I'm just selecting the sketch origin and just correct this point here and vertically align them. Okay, so my sketch is fully constrained. So that's good. And yeah, so that's all I'm going to draw for now. Now I'm going to finish my sketch and I'm going to start with the 3D modeling part. So I'm going to extrude. I'm just going to refresh it here. Okay, so I want to extrude for now this whole part. I did draw the circle, but I'm not going to extrude it right now. So I'm just going to click region boundary curves and select all 3 of the areas. It is 40 millimeters, so I'm going to make it 40. I'm just going to change the direction, but that doesn't really matter so much, but I just want it in that direction and I'm going to apply. Okay. Now I'm going to do the circle, so the lens part of this camera here. So it should be 20 millimeters extruded. So I'm just going to click once again in region boundary, but you can also maybe use single curve if you want it. It's region boundary just usually works the nicest if you have a specific region that you want to extrude. Otherwise, connected curves also work nice if you want to do have curves that are connected. But I'm just going to choose this one and it should be 20. And now I want these 2 parts the first one I extruded and this one I'm extruding now, I want them to be one body, so I'm going to unite them. Okay. Now I want to, you can see there's this little recess in the lens part, so I want to extrude that, or well, I'm not going to use extrude, I'm rather going to use the whole function, since, well, it's ideal for this situation. So I'm just okay, I want it to be there, like you can see they all have the same midpoint, so I'm just going to choose this circle's midpoint like that. Then the hole should be 50 millimeters in diameter, so I'm going to say 50. Then it should be 5 millimeters deep, hole depth is 5. And then I don't want so the hole function is probably more often used where you like want to make a hole where a screw would go in or like that, but I don't want to use it for that exactly right now, so I'm just going to make the angle 0 degrees so that it is flat on the back. And yes, I want to subtract it from this body that I have already, so I'm just going to then apply, and there it is. Okay, so now I can do this little we see on the top part here, it looks like it's cut off the corner or the edge, so I'm going to do that part. So for that we can use the chamfer. Well, you could have also, but that would be a very much longer way to do it. You could make a sketch on the surface and draw the little triangle and extrude the triangle and subtract it from this body, but I'd rather not do that, because then you have a sketch that's on a part of your body, and sometimes that can make trouble and you don't want that. So rather use functions that are for which you don't have to make a whole another sketch. So I'm just choosing that edge there, and then it is I'm not going to choose the symmetric one, because it's clearly not a symmetric triangle, if you can call it like that. I'm rather going to use offset and angle, since, well, it's specified in terms of an angle. Then the offset, so it should be 10 because it's this whole distance, and the angle is 120 minus the 90, so it is 30 degrees. You can manually move it like this, or you can just type it, but either way works fine. There you go. Now that is also done. So now I can maybe put in these rounded edges here of the camera, so those are 10, and I'm going to do that using the edge blend function. So you can select if you want multiple edges that are going to have the same radius, you just select all of them, and it should be 10, I believe. Yes, and then you can just apply. Okay, so now there's still one thing. So yeah, on the sketch is indicated that here in the back there's hidden detail, so I didn't draw it originally on my sketch, but I'm going to go and add it now. So I'm just going to go into the sketch again, and I'm just going to do an offset from this rectangle here, and it should be 5 millimeters. So 5, and should be inwards, and then apply. Okay, and I'm just going to finish the sketch again, and it just asks that, well, I added new things, should it change my extrusion stuff that I've already done, but I don't want them to change anything, so just go on. And you can see there's a little I think it's an eye there, so it's just a little confused on because I changed things now, so I'm just going to select these spaces and fix it. There you go. Now it doesn't have a problem with that anymore. So sometimes when you change a sketch after you have already extruded and done stuff like that from that sketch, you should just go in it into the extrude and make sure it is still fine, and it's because sometimes it wants to change so you should just check that. In case So I added this square here. So obviously from this you can see it's not a square, it also has rounded edges, but I'll also show that with using the H-plane. But first I have to extrude that part there. So I'm just going to use the extrude, and for this case I'm not going to use region body, I'm going to use connected curves, because otherwise I have to select 3 spaces. Now I can just select this one and that line, and it automatically selects the whole rectangle. Okay, now I want to extrude from the back side here. So instead of just typing in the values and getting it correct from a reference point, I'm just going to select this little point here. You see it says it's the start point, and I'm going to say snap to object and select the back side of this model. Then we see that it should be 2 millimeters in. So instead of once again doing the math, I'm going to rather select value from start limit and say it should be 2. And obviously I want to subtract that part, so I'm just going to click subtract, and it automatically selects this body and apply. So now that part is subtracted there. Now I'm going to add the edge planes. So edge plane can be either on an outside part or inside part. So outside part, it removes that material, and for this edge plane it's going to put material back, it's going to add material. So I'm just going to select all 4 of the corners, and these should be 5, I think, yes, and apply. Okay, so it's almost done now. Now all that's needed are those 2, that circle and that little square. So you can technically create a sketch on one of these faces and draw on it, but I'd rather not do that for in case you changed one of the extrudes or deleted it or suppressed it, and then those 2 are not going, the sketch that works from that face is not going to work anymore. It's going to give errors and stuff. So rather use one of the front or the top or the right plane. So I'm going to select the top plane, then the circle and the square are both 12 millimeters. I'm just going to draw them, and the square. So I'm just putting them sort of in place. I'm going to constrain them now once I put them in place. Okay, so we can see that the circle and the square are both in line. So I'm just going to select the circle's midpoint and this side's midpoint and align them. Then they are, both of them are 20 millimeters from this front here, which is I made the sketch so that I actually made the whole model and all of the sketches so that most of the reference dimensions are from a single point, which is now it is obviously that point there and that point there, that point there as the origin, so that I can reference everything from that point, so that it's just easier, and you don't have to do a lot of maths about where you are. So I'm just going to make it 20, and then what I still need is the distance. So they are both 37.5 from the center, so I'm going to add that. And I'm just going to select the midpoint of this edge here. And there you go, sketch is fully constrained, so I can finish it. Okay, so now you can not see the sketch that I just made because it's inside the model, but if you what you can do is, if you want to see it, you can just maybe on the first extrude we made, then you just right click it and you suppress it. Then it suppresses both the first extrude and everything that kind of depends on or is added to that extrude. And now there you can see the sketch that I made, but now I'm just going to unsuppress these things. And I want to extrude that circle and square, so I'm just going to click extrude. I'm going to refresh there, and then I'm going to click on the sketch. If you have a sketch and in the sketches only like a geometry that you want to extrude, like you want to extrude the whole geometry, you can usually just click the sketch and it will automatically select them, just like it now selected that circle and that square. So I want to once again make the starting point of these. I want to make it the top part of the camera here, and then they should be 3 millimeters high. So I'm going to click value from start limit and make it 3. And then I want to once again unite these extrude with the entire camera. Okay, and now the camera is finished. So yeah, but what you can now do after you have finished and you see, okay, you have did every feature is there and so forth, just go to your sketches and you can just click on that little eye there and it will hide it. It just makes a sketch look a lot neater. You can also actually hide the datum coordinate system. Then it's just a part and nothing else. Then lastly, this is not indicated on the sketch per se. Well, I could have actually added the material there, but I didn't yet. But you can now go and assign a material to this part, and then you can do all kinds of nice stuff like get its mass and everything. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to search here for assign material because I'm not sure exactly, I can't remember where the function is, but you can just search for it and then it opened up assign material. So there's lots of materials in this little list here. Let's pick for now aluminum and select the camera, and then you just say okay. So now that once you've assigned the material, you can go to analysis here at the top and click the measure button, and then make sure it's on single body, and you can just click here. Okay, well this one didn't, just redo it, shift click, or I can just delete this here, and I said just select from list, and I'm going to choose the solid body because I want the whole body. And here it will give you a lot of information, like the ones we'll usually use is the mass, or okay, not necessarily weight, but mass, and the center of mass. These two you're going to use in the homework from now on, and you're going to give us the mass of your part or your model and its center of mass, and that's going to help us to easily see if your model is correct. So it's just a very easy, so because if your mass is correct and your center of mass is correct, then well, your model should be correct, otherwise I don't know. That probably makes sense, hopefully. Okay, so that is all then for this video, and I hope it helps. Thank you.